Thank you for staying. At least you're going to have a bit of a wrap-up on what to do with the CDP. So I'm here. I'm the Chief Data Officer at Schneider Electric, which is a small, about $40 billion company, quite industrial. So shifting to the new digital world is a new thing for them. Now it's my third time implementing a CDP, 2 times implementing Thfoin, so I've got a lot of history on what to do with those things, and that's what I want to share today. But because buying a platform is easy, what you do with it afterwards is a completely different thing. How do you survive the next budget cycle to repurchase it? So this is about sharing the experience I've had over the past 7 years in buying, implementing, and keeping CDPs. All right. Because all of you guys are going to be driving some form of digital analytics transformation, what do? There's always a constant thing between those transformations, is that you have to talk about data set, what data you have, how do you use it, where you store it. The second part is the mindset, with a cool peace and love logo. This is very important. How do you change the mindset of people to whom you're giving a technology? What are they going to do with it? If you don't change how they think, they will simply not use it. And the third thing is the skill set. Of course, you need to teach them a new set of skills, how to use those platforms. Now, moving into that. As a leader, you are the one who's going to be addressing not one topic, but all 3 of them. You are responsible for driving this to adoption, to implementation, not only implementation, but usage. My chief marketing officer famously told me, if you don't get commercial impact out of that, you're not going to get paid next year. So she's a bit threatening for my bonus, but my role is not to drive a technology, it's to drive a change in the company. And so is yours. So step 1, what do you need to do? You think you just have to buy a CDP. Now, historically, I've had to buy 3 CDP. People ask, what is a CDP? What does it do? Why do we need one? Do we actually need one? Because, of course, the IT guys will tell you, we got one already, or we got something similar. Now, I've been in the situation where the IT senior vice president said, we can do it with what we have. So we don't need to buy a new thing. People don't know what it is. In Schneider, they spent 2 years talking about CDP. So they brought Accenture, they brought everybody on the planet to tell them what's a CDP and why they need them. What happened is that they got mightily confused. They didn't know. They thought it was about doing everything and nothing. They thought it was going to replace Salesforce and everything. So, and the IT, of course, they got it already. So we spent a good 2 years talking about CDP and not doing anything, and spending a fortune on consultants to tell us, but actually they don't know anything themselves. So what do? My role when I came back to the company was to re-explain everything, to throw away all the slides we got from consultants, and to re-explain, simplify, justify, and repeat again. So what's the CDP? How did I explain it to all the senior vice presidents of the company? First thing is real-time data collection. We do not have that. I used to say, we have Google Analytics, great. GA gives you data 5 minutes later. Our customers spend 3 minutes on the website, so if you get data 5 minutes later, it's gone, it's too late. Forget about personalization. All right, they get it. Then it's unify the data, you have one view of the user, perfect. And then you can do downstream activation. What is downstream activation? That you have to explain, justify. Why do we not do it? So for 6 months, I was blocked by the IT person who would say, no, we have it. Only when I made a nice slide of architecture to show, this is what you have, this is a yellow box where CDP fits in. And oh, so now I have a way to show we don't have it. So all there was about is that she had said to an executive, we have it. So I allowed her to say, actually, we have changed the brief. We want to do something new, and for that new thing, we don't have it. So she had a polite way to escape her blockage. And I wish she had told me that 6 months before. If you wanted me to show you in a polite way to exit, I would have done it. Don't make me guess it. So a lot of time simplifying, justifying, repeating. That's how you get into the implementation. So I'm not going to go back to that because we already discussed it many times. But explain where does it fit. The most important part is how do we make it fit in the wider architecture. That I had to spend a lot of time, again, explaining where does it fit, what does it do, how is the data going to go? Because we have 50 odd countries. How do we respect privacy across all those countries? Is the data correct? So this is actually the critical point. How do we maintain data correctness across all countries? If GA tells you have 100, then CDP tells you got 5, you have a problem. If it's 100 versus 90, it's no problem. But again, you have to explain what are the differences. What does it do? Why is the data different? Why do we see more? Well, for a good reason. So a lot of time spending on implementation, explanation. What does it do? So now comes the problem. You have implemented your CDP. So you have a problem. Because what do you have? You have cool data. You've been talking about how much cool data you were going to have. You now have it. You have some insights. Great. So you can have fun talking to the exec about some nice insights, show cool stuff, which is what we had. But you have a POC factory. Lots of small POC, things that do not scale. Ultimately, you're making $5. And this is a big problem. Because now is when the chief marketing officer comes and says, show me the money. I've given you $500,000, you've given me half a penny. So that's a big problem. That's where we are stuck because we have only cool stuff. How do you solve that? So I used to show a lot of glittery example of data, and famously, I showed them, look, we are trying to understand the MAUs, the monthly active users. We want them to be able to identify themselves. So I showed them, you think today you have 20,000 MAU. But look, you actually have a set of 70,000 repeating active users who come. They're anonymous. We know what they do. We don't know who they are. But if you target them properly, then they will identify themselves. Then you double, triple, quadruple your base of MAU. And this is how you drive engagement. And today, just at 1:30, I had a call with 12 of our SVP of marketing. And they were like, okay, explain to me, what am I going to do? Now you're showing me I have 1 million potential RAUs. What do I do with it? I'm like, God, again? Right, so now you have a page. Those guys have seen so many pages, so you can think they are an electrician or whatever. So create a campaign, create your content strategy to make them identify themselves. So there's a lot of explanation to do. So you have to be in a place where you don't do a small POC to identify 10 guys, but it has to be a factory. So otherwise, you're never going to show any money. So whenever you're going to run your transformation, there are 4 key components to drive the success. And those are, you probably know them, you've been talking about people, process, and tool for 20 years. Now it's pretty much, it's always been the same. So people, if you don't have the right people, nothing will happen. Who is going to use your technology? Who is going to sit on it every day? Process. Now, if you have real-time data, great. But if your marketing budget says you need 7 layers of approval to approve a campaign, it doesn't work. So you need to completely change the process of marketing to have budgets that are always on, as long as you limit a conversion rate target. So you have to completely change the process to be in a real-time world. If not, you're still into the POC factory and nothing scales. AI. Everybody talks about AI, but it's the easiest bit. You just plug in an algorithm that's going to go, it's going to play, it's going to target, and do things. People focus on that is the least difficult part, because you can try. With Thfoin, you can actually pass your data to multiple downstream AI layer, and that's easy. If it doesn't work, get it out. If it works, perfect. And the last one is data. Most of the time, data is incorrect, is not passed properly. So the fact that with one of my selling points that with Thfoin, I control the governance of my data. No one is there to change a dash or a dot into my tags just because they like it. So I lock it centrally, and nobody can change it. I'm assured that my data is pretty good. Next. So this is actually critical. How do you make that work? Always focus on those 4 things. You tend to focus on AI, let's buy an algorithm. Focus on every step of the process. Now we're in a place where we have data. We can show profile, but we don't have marketing analysts in the countries. That means nothing's going to happen. And your $500,000 tool, well, who's going to use it? So you have to think about that ahead of your transformation when you make your budget request. Finally, step, you have to re-explain. We restart. How do we, now we've been stuck after 2 months of talking, 6 months of implementing. I'm still in a place where I repeated the same stuff. CDP, Unify, etc., etc. How did we change that? If you want to scale, you have to connect the ecosystem. If you think of AI, AI is nothing but software. If your company is not software enabled, AI is not going to float. It's like electricity. If you have a plug, but it's cut somewhere, it's not going to work. So I had to re-explain, we need to have all the software aligned, connected, so we can pass data, personalization, activation, all in one go. Right, that's a massive change. Now, we had to put together that CDP is only one part of a wider MarTech transformation. So we are implementing multiple things at the same time. We need a CDP, great, data. We need a content management system to display the right creatives at the right time on the right place. If you want to do a personalized website, but your website is inflexible, or you have to put the creative yourself, it's not going to work. So all of that has to be explained and re-explained all the time. Now you have to treat it as such. If you are driving your CDP implementation, you should not be alone. You need to have marketing with you. You need to have tech. Of course, you need to have legal, as the previous guy was saying. If you don't have the right quick consent, you're not going to have the right data. So you need to have everybody on board with you. It is a bigger movement. It's not just your CDP transformation. Make sure everybody's on board with you. So treat it as a marketing transformation. It's not an IT transformation, it is a marketing transformation. What we've done now is we unified all the programs. When we were trying to drive the transformation, I had a roadmap for CDP, a roadmap for CMS, campaign management system. We had a roadmap for training. We had a roadmap for Salesforce Marketing Cloud being implemented. So when you go to the countries, like, hang on, that's 4 transformation. No, it's 1. So we put it all back together into one transformation, MarTech, explaining why you need CMS, why you need Salesforce Marketing Cloud, why you need Tilium, etc. So now they start to understand how things are connected and not different. How many people they need to hire, how many people they need to train. Link all of your KPIs. The usual KPI is that, yep, I implemented Tilium, I got data flowing, nothing, and so what? Now it's back to, everything has to be back to commercial impact. If my SVP of marketing, their KPI is on how many RAUs, recurring active users, they have. I show them, look, I'm showing you the ghost RAUs, those unknown RAUs that you can convert. If you use our platforms, you're going to double your RAU target. Now they start to be on board with you in the transformation because you actually talk their game. If you help them meet their KPI, they will play with you. If not, they're just one other tool. And guess what? Every 2 years, there's another tool coming anyway. So for them, it's like flavor of the day. So link all KPIs, all programs together if you want to stand a chance of working. And repeat. Because guess what? There are so many transformation programs happening in every company. You have to repeat all the time. Make sure you're top of mind. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Today, on my global marketing leadership call, same stuff I've been saying for 20 times, but there are so many different things. Repeat, be humble enough to re-explain all the time. And I have to do a lot of white glove coaching session with each of those SVPs so they can ask the questions they don't dare to ask in public. Because in public, they don't want to sound like ignorance, so they would never dare to ask the question. So you have to take them by hand into the transformation. And that's my 4 steps to relaunching a CDP. Sorry?
We've got time.
Yeah, we got time for questions. So if anyone is suffering through their implementation, I can get off stage. Nope. So where are you on your journey? Is anyone implementing at the moment? Nope.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is this a B2B or a B2C proposition?
So I'm a B2B now, but I've done B2C before. So we used to be with, my previous company was owning Carrefour in the Middle East. So I've done both B2B and B2C. And it's always the same context. The use case will differ, but how you drive the implementation, how you manage the politics, the bureaucracy, the debate between marketing, tech, IT, strategy, etc. is very constant. Yeah.
Thanks for the presentation. I like it because CDP's heavy change the communication exercise. So you spoke about the C-levels and the VP online marketing. How did you manage to get all channels, social channels, on-site channel, paid channel, CM channel, aligned on using the same type of segments, the same type of data?
So that's so first, before being a tech transformation, the question was how do we align with all the social channels together with the same right type of data? I can take the example of Carrefour. We used to have the offline marketing and the online marketing, as if there's two versions of myself, one offline me and online me. And of course, with online, you have people managing different channels. So what you need to do is bring all marketing under one umbrella. It's customer marketing, it's not channel marketing. Because if you think of your channel, of your social, they're not a channel, they're a behavior. Your customer is there. So we have brought together all things under one marketing, and then we do persona level. And then people who manage those persona need to manage how they target people across those different socials. Otherwise, one guy, the famous example in Carrefour, there was I was receiving emails from one side of the business, then other offers, then offline. So ultimately, they were all spending $10 on me and giving me over precious offers. Instead of spending $10, they were spending $30 on me. But because they don't talk to one another, they don't harmonize their marketing to the user level, they failed. Anyone else is suffering the same issues on bureaucracy and implementing platforms?
Have we got anything else? Anybody? Rich? No? Nothing from you? Guy, you mentioned four things you talked about on the slides there. Were they all interlinked and very important to each other? Was there one that's
Those ones?
really jumped out at you as being more important?
They're all interlinked, and if one fails, everything else fails. So we had a very famous example. We used to run the Abercrombie & Fitch in the UAE. So we had a franchise, and there was a very interesting guy from IT who talks about AI all the time. And he said, I'm going to buy a tool and do some AI algorithm to run better promotion. So he bought the tool, spent $1 million on consulting. Very good. So then he had a great algorithm and great recommendation. So AI check, data check, people kind of check. Then he thought about speaking to Abercrombie in the US to say, hey, I'm going to run those promotion in the UAE. And what did Abercrombie US say? Yeah, not a chance. We're a global company, we run global promotion, nobody decides what is run locally. So they spent 6 months, millions, to design some magic AI with some great data, but ultimately process was not aligned, and the guy was no longer part of the company. So think of everything. If your AI works and checks, how are you going to put it in place? Well, there's a pretty funny example with Carrefour where we used AI to redesign what you put on the shelf. Great example, investing millions of dollars with McKinsey. So we had one store with the perfect planogram by AI and one store with the usual one. Guess what was the uplift in sales for the AI-generated planogram? Minus 60. So pretty hard to go back to a board and say, McKinsey drove a minus 60 uplift. What happened? Good data, good AI, process kind of aligned, people. Lots of low-skilled labor, took the planogram, put it upside down, inverted, did not follow the plan, so of course it was completely failed test. Then we had to put people behind the people to look at what the people were doing. Lots of training, so every steps of the way you learn how to fail an AI project. Cool?
I've got a question.
Yeah.
So you talked about how challenging it was initially to get other parts of the organization on board with your vision,
Yeah.
especially parts of the organization that said they already had
Yeah.
CDP. Once you've had success and now that you've delivered this, tell us how you then go back to the broader organization to remind them of the context and where you're at now and what the next phase of investment looks like.
So this is what, today we're just at the stage where we implemented. We're not at a stage where we have shown enough money. So I need to constantly remind them that this is what you can do with it, but it is your role as a marketeer to use it. I'm not the one who's going to be making money. I'm helping you to reach your goal and your stretch goals. So what I've shown to my CMO, my Chief Marketing Officer, is that you may have a target of 100 RAUs. Here's a potential of 1 million. So your target is too low. So you need to have a stretch target because this is how much you can reach today. So you're showing every day the art of the possible, how far you could go, but they are the ones who need to design their content strategy to convert. So it's always about, okay, now you reach that goal, that step, here's the next step. So you keep on stretching to the next goal. Otherwise, we just relax and not do anything else.